You might be familiar with Gwendolyn Christie from her big roles as Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones and as Lucifer in The Sandman, but more recently, she starred in the Netflix series Wednesday as Principal Larissa Weems of Nevermore Academy, and the woman could not be more excited. In the middle of her growing popularity, the actress explained how honored she was for the casting call to Tim Burton's Wednesday. Here's everything we know. First off, what did Gwendolyn say in the interview? The actress said it all started when she and her friends were out strolling across a field in the countryside when she received a text saying, "Tim Burton would like to speak to you about his new project, The Addams Family." It goes without saying that the actress was ecstatic to finally be working with one of her childhood idols. Who wouldn't? She felt like her mind had imploded, and to be honest, she was pretty convinced she had atomized as well. So to say she was thrilled would be a massive understatement. But when her mind finally fell back into her head, she took a deep breath and said yes, as she should have. After that exciting once-in-a-lifetime moment, the Wednesday showrunners Tim Burton and Al Gough scheduled a Zoom meeting with Christie to negotiate the part in more detail. And of course, she had to show how grateful she was, so she told Burton how she felt about being picked out of so many actors. But honestly, who would have thought that Brienne of Tarth, of all people, would make it into an Addams Family production? We certainly didn't. The actress goes back to Burton's classic movies, which made her fall in love with him and have a dream that she might work with him in the future when she was younger. Christie admired several of Burton's works, including Beetlejuice and P. Big Wee's Adventure, so this was huge for her. Moving on, will Principal Larissa Weems be in season 2? Christie's enthusiasm for being contacted and cast by Burton is sweet, especially when considering the contrast between the actor's sweet reaction and her character's imposing attitude. Because of her past relationship with Wednesday's mother Morticia and Wednesday's natural fear of authority, Principal Weems was initially featured in the series as a somewhat unpleasant character. Tim Burton is clearly going for a Miss Trunchbull kind of vibe, you know, that tough character from Matilda, but where the Nevermore principal is different is by being Wednesday's ally and helping the kid locate the real culprit of the crimes, despite Wednesday's initial suspicion that Principal Weems was responsible for the monster. The fact that Principal Weems did not survive the season meant that her big moment didn't come without a price. The fact that Christie's character passed away seems to confirm that she won't be in a future Wednesday season 2 casting. But then again, Tim Burton and Wednesday's world is way past the ordinary, where things aren't simple, so we might just see her in the next season, despite the fact that she was written off. Considering that many characters in the show have powers, and considering how little is known about the principal of Nevermore, it's possible to say that she may shock viewers by making a huge comeback in Wednesday season 2. As for whether Wednesday will return, the first season's finale obviously left room for a second. Ortega's Wednesday will probably return, even if Netflix hasn't approved the show for season 2, despite the overwhelmingly positive reviews and enthusiastic public response. Now for what Gwendolyn Christie thought about the show. Despite having only a few scenes together, she seemed to enjoy the relationship between Weems and Morticia in particular, and we think we can all agree that we need a backstory too. Wait a minute, maybe this could mean we might get a spin-off for Morticia next. But for the time being, let's just talk about how the actress felt about her time working as the principal at Nevermore. All things considered, she really loved the relationship between the two because there was always something energizing about two people hating each other, which the actress thought really worked for the show. Wednesday showed Larissa Weems growing up always being in the shadow of Morticia because, just like in the cartoons from the 90s, she always excelled at everything, be it being the captain of all the teams, being at the top of her class, or just outdoing everybody. But that's not all. She also thought that instead of the show having a one-dimensional hatred between two characters, there was a whole story about living with someone who's better than you, which can be a tough pill to swallow, let's be real. But to Gwendolyn, it wasn't hatred. It was more like a deep love and admiration for someone she spent most of her life with. Sure, you could call it obsession too, but it went way deeper than a couple of mean girls being petty towards each other. Not to mention, Gwendolyn Christie loves Catherine Zeta-Jones. Being totally in awe of Catherine Zeta-Jones definitely led to Gwendolyn's incredible on-screen performance. Gwendolyn was somewhat starstruck because, let's face it, Catherine Zeta-Jones is a real movie star. What's more, she's an extremely talented actor, so Gwendolyn didn't want to cause any kind of trouble for her. This was another reason why she was so careful not to goof up. What we actually witnessed in Wednesday was Jones's fun and kind personality in contrast to Gwendolyn's quiet one, and it was beautiful. In terms of Larissa and Nevermore, Gwendolyn believes Larissa is very protective of the institution. She also believed that it raised the moral dilemma of, if you're in the service of something good, to what ends are you supposed to go? How recklessly are you allowed to behave in order to protect that precious and wonderful thing? Gwendolyn found these questions about her character to be very interesting, especially in this day and age when we don't know where to draw the line. Next up, Gwendolyn's thoughts on the script. She believes that the entire show emphasizes our deepest flaws as human beings. There are many unsolved issues. Many actions could be unconscious ones over which we have no control, and these are the actions we usually hate ourselves for and ignore. Let's be real. How often do we pursue a cause greater than ourselves? Her interest was piqued by all of the polarizing topics and concepts in the script, and she absolutely loved it. Let's not forget to mention her relationship with Wednesday, which she also loved. The actress believes that Weems faces the ultimate challenge because of Wednesday. Think about it. She's single, and she spent all her life in Nevermore, where she held a very influential position after living under Morticia's shadow her whole life. Weems did everything she could for the children who had nowhere else to go, and that's what counted the most for her, because even though she had the ability to thrive in the real world, she never really left Nevermore. But you gotta admit, it's amazing how Wednesday, the living embodiment of an atom bomb, serves as a constant reminder of her history as well as the complexity and irony of her present, leaving her to constantly wonder what her future holds. Let's talk more about how honorable Gwendolyn's role was for her. In all fairness, it was an exciting honor considering the fact that she grew up loving the Addams family with a very special place in her heart, a lot like most of us 90s babies did. But it was the black and white show that she remembered watching as a kid that really brought it home for her. The shows and movies had everything from excitement, dark humor, and dynamic stories that everybody loved. So we get why Gwendolyn was so into the Addams family. So putting all of that into consideration, you can probably guess that Gwendolyn had to rise to the occasion and help make something different and memorable. Not only did she have to portray the principal of the school, but she also had to have her own special personality, with a little bit of bureaucracy thrown in, with the fact that Weems was also an outcast. All those ideas of how Gwendolyn wanted to portray her character were the most exciting part, especially considering the fact that this isn't one of her typical roles. It goes without saying that she had to work extra hard on this one, but then again, she's an actor, and adapting to different kinds of roles is just part of the resume. Finally, Gwendolyn also gave props to the costume designer. A highlight of the production, according to Christie, was working with costume designer and regular Tim Burton partner Colleen Atwood. She stated that it was an incredible honor for her to work with Colleen, who is arguably one of the best costume designers to have ever lived. The actress complimented her for being cooperative and compassionate, and appreciated Gwendolyn for who she is. Not to mention, if you've taken a moment to appreciate the amazing work Colleen did, she understood the assignment and didn't make us feel like we were seeing Brienne of Tarth. Instead, what we got was a completely different person, so all that credit goes to her. What did you think about the production and costume design? Let us know in the comments below. And that's it for today. If you liked the video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content just like this. See ya!